Peace, family. This is Dr. Sadiki Baye coming to you once again, as usual. As I always say, I'm here for you every Saturday on time with a beautiful topic that is very essential for us to know uh, different things in life that's going to elevate us. Because a lot of things have been done to us by a lot of people and by a lot of situations. So I'm not here to change anything. I'm here to fulfill it. And I'm here today to share with you what the Creator has blessed me with in honor of the ancestors. And keep in mind, we are the ancestors here having a human experience. So we must keep the connection with the spiritual ancestors. Call on them whenever you need them. I know in certain religions they call them angels, but we call them ancestors. So with that in mind, and we thought they kind of crazy when they were here, but now as you get older, you'll find out that what they were saying is right on time. So let's honor and represent them the best way that we can, because our turn is coming to become a spiritual ancestor. So with that in mind, family, we're going to talk about today a topic on remember. Remember. That's a beautiful topic there, as all my other topics are. You can go to YouTube and check them out, and push like and subscribe. And every Saturday it'll notify you to let you know that a video is ready to review. So we're going to talk about remember today, because sometimes we kind of forget. So we have to understand the processes of life instead of coming off the top of our head, freestyling everything and basing everything on emotions and how we feel. But I'm going to give you some reality here, some things where you can check it out for yourself. There's nothing more rewarding than self gratification, self rewards. So reward yourself by taking what I'm giving you and take it to another level. So remember. What does remember means? Remember means to be able to bring to mind an awareness of something or someone in the past. And the key to it all is awareness. Because sometimes we forget, but we must keep the awareness of the things that has happened to us, the things of how we were and how we got where we are today. We have to remember. We have to keep the awareness of those things. So awareness is key to be able to bring to mind the awareness of someone or something in the past. In other words, to use, to emphasize the importance, family, of what is a fact and what is a belief. So please, receive what I'm giving to you the way I'm giving it to you. Receive it in that manner. And it again is to emphasize the importance of what is a fact and what is a belief. See, and there are two different things. Facts is something that you have to have proof of. You can see evidence of it, see it with your eyes, see evidence of it. Beliefs, you don't. And we have some crazy beliefs because we feel we don't have to, prove anything. I don't have to show you anything. I ain't got to prove nothing to you. We just go along with things. And we need to stop that because we're not children. We are minds, thinkers. So what you believe, you should be able to show evidence of it. So facts and beliefs should come together. as one. You should be able to show evidence of what you believe, or it's not there. Everything that exists has a reason, and we must know its purpose. So let's remember that. And also, there's different types of remembering. Or, before I get to that, let's talk about synonyms. I love to get synonyms and antonyms of words. And synonyms means words that are similar to or means the same. So what are some words that are similar to remember? Okay, the first one that I can think of is recall. The second one is recollect or recollect. Also to remind. Also to reminisce. And the last one that I can think of is memory. Now, if you notice that all of them except for memory has re in it, has re as a prefix. Prefix is in the beginning of the word. Re is the prefix for recall, recollect, remind, or reminisce. And re means back or again. So let's look at recall. That means call again, call back. Recollect means collect again. Remind means to go back or again. So we must understand these terminologies because I love etymology. Dr. Burton at Temple University, he was my hero because he always gave the meaning of words and terms, the beginning of them when they were first brought on the scene. Because they always give us stuff that's already watered down, diluted, mixed, and flipped, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm here to give it to you raw. So take it and, check it out for yourself. Be true to yourself, make it real, and keep it real. So these are the synonyms for remember. So the antonym is something that means opposite. So what is the opposite of remember? And the word is forget. If you don't remember, you have forgotten. Or you never knew. And we have a whole lot of things that we forgot. We are easily to forget because of the distractions that's in this world. We're too worldly. We got to rise above this world so that we can recall, we can recollect, we can remind ourselves, and we can reminisce, and we can memorize. Family, we have to transform and renew our minds. We have to be born again, as they say. You can't stay the same. Everything that exists is moving, and if it's moving, it's changing. So we need to stop doing all we can to stay the same. Everything must change, and nothing remains the same. And that's why I always bring up the attention, the awareness that there's only one thing that's perfect in life, and that is change. Change you must. Either you growing or you going. Your choice. So family, remember means to have or keep an idea or an image in mind from the past. Yes, that means to think of, to cause to bring back to mind. That's what remember means. We got to start remembering. And the main thing is to remember who we are. Because if you know who you are, you know who God is. Because the essence of us is God. This is just a shell to house the Spirit of God. So we must keep it clean. And I'm going to give you certain ways of improving our memory, because we are a soon forget kind of people, especially when it comes to the enemy. But we have long-term memory when it comes to each other, when we feel that we did something to each other. We go to the grave with those grudges, and we must stop that. We have to give each other the benefit of the doubt, because all of us been had. That's why God give us mercy and grace. That's the benefit of the doubt, to get yourself together before it's too late. Isn't that beautiful? Let us not take that for granted. So family, there are three types of memory. And the first type is sensory memory. And sensory memory is nothing but the five senses, using your five senses. The second one is short-term memory. The third is long-term memory. But for some reason, we have short-term memory when it comes to who we are, who God is, or who the enemy is, and what the enemy has done to us for 400 or 500 years, and some. We should never have a short-term memory of that. We should have long-term memory of who the enemy is. Always to never forget. But we should have short-term memory when we do something to each other, because we should give each other the benefit of the doubt. Don't hold grudges, resentments, regrets, and all of that kind of stuff. That's what eats you up on the inside. Don't forget, rot starts from the inside out. That's why 1 minute you can see a person looking vibrant and healthy and everything, and then all of a sudden they got cancer. That means there's something that's going on the inside that we didn't know about. Everybody's always more than the eye can see. But stick around, you'll see everybody's reality. So family, keep in mind that rot starts from the inside out. As it says in the scripture, as within, so without. You can run, but you can't hide. So that's what that really means. So family, I'm here to give you some meaning and some direction for us to turn this thing around, this suffering that we're taking ourselves through, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And as a result, our children are being cursed. And that's why all of this stuff is going on, and children killing each other, hating each other, despising each other. And we need to stop blaming them for that. And we need to blame the ones who's responsible for them. We need community, common unity. We need to fight hard and smart to get that back. Voting and having all these policemen in our community is not the answer. I remember when I was coming up, you hardly ever saw a policeman, but we had nothing but respect in our communities. We need to go back and get what we left behind when we so-called integrated. Integration was almost the worst thing for us. What we did is we integrated with somebody who had 400 or 500 years on us, and they say, okay, everything is equal, let's start from here. That's an illusion. Somebody had a 400 or 500 year jump on you, you will never win. Matter of fact, we need to stop playing their game and create our own game. The game that they have is for chickens. We're eagles. Don't depend on them to tell you who you are, to define you. We should have long-term memory when it comes to that. Never forget where you come from. Never. So family, in all the holy scriptures, they have one thing that is more important than anything to remember. And you know what that is? To remember who God is. Remember who God is. God is always within. Not only that, we must remember the benefits that God has blessed us with. We soon forget. And let me give you an example of that. All of us have been through trauma, death-dealing situations, and we prayed to God, and God blessed us out of it. Because our prayer was, God, if you bless me out of this, I'll never do that again. But guess what? When we get out of it and things kind of calm down, we right back at it again. This is a pattern. We have short-term memory when it comes to who God is and what He has done for us, and what we have done for each other. That is uplifting. We have short memory. We take each other for granted. We take God for granted. We need to stop that. Have long-term memory when it comes to what God has done for us and what we have done for each other that is uplifting. Always remember that. Use that as a motivation to transform to a higher plane of living. Yes. So family, always remember who God is and what He has done for us. Be humble and grateful at all times. So God never forgets, but we have a tendency to forget. So we must do what? We must improve our memory. That's a science. That's a process. Everything that's real in life, it takes a process. It took a process to mess us up the way we are. And it's going to take a process to get us out of it. And we must do that together. So there is ways to improve your memory so you won't forget. And the first one is to recall. Or not only recall, but let me get real down and dirty with this. And a lot of people might not even like it. But I can't be overly concerned about your feelings when I'm telling the truth. That's what Sadiki means, truthful. So I must tell you the truth. And the way to improve your memory is, one, stop eating sugar, especially refined sugar, white starch, white bread, white rice, white potatoes. In other words, white salt. In other words, white ain't right no more. Let me say that again. White ain't right no more. I hope you hear what I'm saying. The second thing to consider when you're improving your memory is to meditate / pray. When you meditate, you go within and tap into the presence and the power of God that's always there. But sometimes we can get easily distracted by the world, what's going on in the world. And we have to be careful with that. We have to be mindful of that. We have to have long-term memory of that. Meditate. Take the time to go within to make sure that you have and maintain the connection with God who's right there in you. Because when you look into the mirror, there it is. The third thing that comes to mind is have a healthy weight. Your body should be healthy. You should have a healthy weight. And don't forget, keep in mind that your lifeline is your waistline. Your waistline is your lifeline. Uh-oh. What? My waistline is my lifeline? So everything has been supersized today. You got these brothers walking around like they just swallowed a barrel. I know you don't like that, but I hope you don't and do something about it. What it is swollen organs. Your body, your organs always fight for you. It will swell before it bursts. Because if it bursts and it starts leaking, it'll go in your bloodstream and it'll kill you. So your body always fight for you. It always stretches. We got a lot of crazy stuff that's in our system that's been there for many years. When a lot of people get operations and reductions, they don't see parasites in them. So they call them parasites, but they're actually worms. And the worms is the things that give you that craving. It keeps on calling for the stuff that keeps it alive. But we must control that. Stop eating death. Bury death in the ground and not in your stomach. Stop making your stomach a graveyard. And I'm going to touch on it in a minute. So the first thing, as I say, stop eating refined sugar and starches and all that, because starch even turns to sugar. That's why we got a lot of people who got diabetes and high blood pressure and all of this aches and pains and all of that kind of crazy stuff. Sugarholics. Meditation is the thing. Means to be at peace with yourself. Go within and tap into the presence and the power of God who's always there. The third thing that comes to mind, like I said, is your waistline. You got some of these females out here, stuff flying all over the place, and they got a nerve to wear tight stuff. We need to be ashamed of ourselves. What kind of example is that? But when you're desperate, you do anything. That's a sign of desperation. A lot of lonely people out here. A lot of people who took things for granted. A lot of people who had solid relationships who messed it up. And they're paying big for that today. Very lonely, frustrated, angry. Can't get along with nobody. So make sure that you put the right things in your bodies so that you can see when you do things as a way of life. Everything should be a way of life, not just dieting. It's nothing. You know, have a healthy way of life and your body will adjust to its natural size. Who want to keep on these barrel bellies and, you know, which a lot of people say when you got all of this stuff, fat flying all over the place. Excuse me, but it's true. It's funny, but it's not. And you got backed up stuff in you for years. That's why you don't have no energy in reserve. And the only part of your body that gives you energy in reserve is your appendix. The appendix it produces vitamin B12. That means energy in reserve, but it's packed in with the SH for many years, so it doesn't function, and it easily gets irritated, and then you have appendicitis. Then they cut it out. Now you done. No more energy in reserve that you can have, but then you start taking all of these drugs. Give you a false sense of security. You go to these drug addicts, which we call doctors, to write you a prescription on what drug they want you to have. You better not do it on your own. It's illegal. You got to go to the drug dealer to do that. And then he'll write you a prescription to go to the drug store. Family, we must peep this game here. The drug store? Are you for real? We need to get back to nature. So, the healthy weight. Now, another way to improve your memory is to get some rest. Get some rest, family. We're not just talking about sleep, because sometimes you can go to sleep and wake up and even more tired than you were before you went to sleep. Rest means to be at peace with yourself, means to balance yourself, means to relieve yourself of the unnecessary stresses. And also, we must see a lot of things going in my head, so I'm remembering too. So it's to be mindful. Mindfulness. What does mindfulness mean? To be aware, to be conscious of, to never forget, to be conscious of the presence and the power of God. Be aware of our purpose. Be aware that we are the original people. God gave us the ability to name everything he created, and it ain't nothing until we call it. But for some reason, we got rebellious, and all hell broke loose. Not only for us, but for the animals and everything else. We started eating animals, and animals start eating each other, and animals even start eating us. We need to get back to our original way of life. We need to be more mindful of our reality, of our existence and our purpose. So let's be mindful of that. Remember, keep in mind, be conscious of that, and never forget. Also, family, we must train our brains. Exercise your brain. Repetition is the key. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. In other words, your brain is something you can see, but the mind you can't. But you can see the results of the mind, cause and effect. So we must exercise our brains, strengthen our brains, keep it fresh, keep it strong. And what feeds the brain? Your blood. The quality of your blood will determine the quality of your thinking. Let me say that again. That's very important. The quality of your blood will determine the quality of your thinking and the longevity of your thinking. So, dementia and Alzheimer's and all this nonsense won't even be able to touch you when you're fresh, when you're on top of your game, when you're very mindful to continue to balance everything about you, because balance is the key to everything. So family, I just want to give you these things because I love you and I respect you a lot, and I want to give it to you from what I have been blessed with through my ups and downs. And I want to give it to you so you don't have to go through what I went through. Give it to you freely. That's what you call true giving. Love with respect, family. Now, when you look at the scriptures, or when you look at any holy book, it says what? In the beginning. Let's just look at Genesis. What does Genesis mean? It means in the beginning. What does it say? Let the food from the tree be your meat. Let me say that again. Let the food from the tree be your meat. Did not say animals. It said the tree, because if this body came from the earth, you must eat things that comes from the earth. And that are things that grows from the earth. And then it says, let the herbs from the fields be the healing of the nation. Whoo! Let me say that again. Man, I get excited. I get a good feeling when I speak that kind of energy, when I entertain that kind of energy. Let the let the herbs from the field be the healing of the nation. Herbs, family. Remember that nasty stuff that our parents used to give us? There was bitter stuff. See, one thing about parasites, it cannot survive in a bitter environment. But that sweet environment, oh, it thrives on it. So we must stop giving our children sugar and start giving them honey. Their taste buds is all perverted. That's why it's craving for sugar. We are sugarholics. We're death eaters. How can you eat meat that's dead and say that it's promoting life? Oh, I'm getting protein from death. How can you get protein from death? You get nuts and legumes and beans and stuff like that as protein. Yeah, that's right. So, death. What happens when you kill an animal? Rigor sets in immediately. What does that mean, rigor? Well, rigor is rot. So it rots. That's why they drain the blood out of it, then throw it in the freezer. Now you got frozen death. Then you unfreeze it. Then you put it in the pot or the oven and kill it again. Then if you have anything left over, the next day you kill it again. Come on, family. Bury that stuff in the ground, not in the pit of your stomach. Let's start promoting life by eating enzymes, food with enzymes in it. Eat it raw as much as possible. So remember that all things that are created has a creator. All things that are created has a creator. A lot of things we create in our lives and don't even know it. We start blaming each other. Then we even blame God. God, why are you allowing all this stuff to happen to me? And God is looking at you. You fool. We do it to ourselves. Life does not excuse ignorance. We must be aware. The wise man goes by what he knows, not what he feels, not what he sees, not what he smells, not what he hears. That can be deceiving. You got to know these things. So you got to study. The first thing you do is to do what? You be aware. You study. After you study, you learn. After you learn, you remember. And after that, you become wise. And above all of that, get understanding. That's balance. We have to understand the processes of life, family. We got to stop coming off the top, based on emotions and feelings. Well, I feel better, so I must be better. Not really. Feelings can be deceiving. It comes and goes like the weather. Isn't that the very thing that always got us in trouble? Our feelings and emotions. We got to start knowing things, family. Let's get wise. So remember that remembering is vital. Let's remember that remembering is vital. What do I mean by that? It's important, it's necessary, and it's essential. We have to start remembering the things that is necessary to keep us balanced as eagles, flying high, not pecking and cock-a-doodle-doing and all that on the ground. Here it is, birds even got wings but can't even fly. They're clucking and plucking. Where the eagle is soaring, and the eagles even eat chickens. Come on, warriors. Come on, eagles. Let's get back to our natural ways of life. But we have to remember and know where we came from. We are the original people. We are God's chosen people. Everybody hates us because of that. That's why they fight hard to keep us down. And their number one mission is to never allow us to create another Messiah ever again. We must know that and understand that so we'll know what we're dealing with. Stop picking and choosing. It is what it is. And if it is what it is, it's going to be what it's going to be. So remember, family, to continue to know who you are. Because if you know who you are, you know who God is. But how can you remember what you don't know? You got to first know and then remember what you know. We know too much nonsense. We must get rid of that nonsense and replace it with the realities of our nature, our purpose, so that we can create a legacy that will last for generations. And stop blaming the children. They are a result of something. They are a result of the ones before them negligence. So we must redeem ourselves so that we can stop the inertia. The things that are in motion have a tendency to stay in motion and pick up as it goes along. Who's going to step up to the plate and slow that down? Me. And we need more members. The Warriors need to step up to the plate and hit a grand slam. So with that in mind, family, we must remember what has happened to us and what we need to do to get back to our reality. Family, I love you. I bless you, and I want you to prosper. The 3 things to remember is right thinking, right giving, and right eating. That's completion. And God is in the middle. That's family. Stay strong and keep your faith where it belongs. Do your best and let God do the rest. You got to know when to hold and know when to fold. How do you know that? When to do that? You have to have a sharp discerning spirit to know the difference, so you won't be using emotions. The very thing that always got us in trouble. Keep your head towards the universe where all strength comes from, and never give up and never, ever, ever, ever give in, no matter how things seem. Seem is emotion, because everything is, always was, and always will be in divine order. God don't make no mistakes, but we do. But when you learn from your mistakes, it's all good. And learning can be painful. But once you get to the other side of that pain, you can't beat the blessings. So go for it and get your blessings. Keep your lights on and keep them bright at all times. And never allow nobody to put them out, no matter who they are. Family, happy new journey, happy new life, and show more love with respect for yourself and one another than ever before. Hotep, Baraka, and peace. This is Dr. Sadiki Baye, your servant. Love with respect.